Hi guys, this is Two Chicks and a Tool Belt, and today we are painting fabric. So we get a lot of questions about the process that we follow to paint fabric, and unfortunately there's not a single answer that's going to apply to every project that you're tackling. There's many different ways to apply the paint, but water is definitely involved. So we've been playing around with this. I just kind of want to show you how we have been playing with this to determine the right process to apply the paint to this particular type of fabric. So we initially started with a bowl of water here, and we were dipping our brush straight into the water, straight into the paint, and then straight onto the fabric. And what we found is that oversaturated the fabric, and the paint was penetrating too deep and not allowing us to build the coverage that we're after. So then we opted for another technique that a lot of people use, which is just to moisten the fabric with a water bottle. We did that on the lower half here, and I think it's actually building better coverage. So I think that's the process that we're going to continue to follow with this piece. So this is the challenge when you're painting fabric. It's not a scary process. It may sound a little intimidating, but you just have to play with different techniques and different application processes until you find the one that's creating the look and the coverage that you're after. So right now, because this is plenty wet, I'm just dipping my brush straight into the paint. I don't know if you can see how much I have on there, a decent amount. And this is damp. It's not dripping wet, although we were dripping wet earlier. And as I said, we decided that was too much water. Right now this is just damp, but it's wet enough that I'm able to work my paint into the fibers of the fabric and start building that coverage.
And this is like a wool tweed blend, so very dark fabric.
Dense fibers.
We're using buttermilk, which is a light white and has a little bit of yellow in it, tiny bit.
And this is our first coat. So we'll let this dry, and of course the coverage will continue to build as we do multiple coats.
When we were doing other projects with, let's say, the mustard seed color, dipping our brush in the water and then into the paint did work better, but I feel like that was because the mustard seed has a lot more tint in it than the white does, and this is such a dark fabric, and the fabric we were using for the mustard seed was a lot lighter, so that worked better for that fabric. So like Mina said,
this really is a trial and error process.
Yes.
But it is a forgiving process, so don't be intimidated. And if you're scared to start, I would recommend having too much water as opposed to not enough.
right.
That's your starting point. You can always reduce the amount of water that you're utilizing throughout the project. Okay, so I've switched brushes here to work the paint into this trim that's covering up probably upholstery, staples and such. So I just have a smaller brush here. I did spritz the bristles of this brush with my water bottle, but I just needed something a little tinier to get in here. And I'm working quickly and aggressively to get that paint in there. And this is our first coat, so from here we're going to let this dry and then we'll start back up. But we just wanted to show you the play that this type of process can require, and help you understand why when you reach out to us and ask us for the magic recipe, we don't have one. There isn't one.